Coach, our first question is from many media members. How do you assess Kyron Williams' performance today?
Well, he did something that hadn't been done here in 25 years. So, I mean, from that perspective, receiving yards over 90, rushing yards over 90, pretty good opener for him. There's a lot that he can build off of this, certainly. Do you mind me looking at you, or should I look at somebody else? I should look at Katie? Okay, I'm going to look at Katie. I mean, I just think that for an opener, that's a really good performance and something to build off of. Certainly, there's a number of run reads and blitz pickups and things of that nature that he's going to get a great, I think, learning curve from, but obviously a really good day.
And same question, this one from Patrick Engel regarding Joe Wilkins. What did you see from him in camp to suggest he could produce when asked to?
Well, he had been limited in camp, with a hamstring injury, but we've always felt like when Joe got his opportunity that he was talented enough to make some plays. And it's just fun to watch him make some plays, I mentioned him in our post-game talk. There's a lot of players that just needed an opportunity, right? He was stuck behind some really good players, and Ben gets a bit of a hamstring, not severe, but enough that he couldn't play at 100%. So next guy in, and we've got a lot of confidence in Joe, and made some terrific plays for us. And that sideline catch was a really big catch for us.
Our next question is from Darren Pritchett of WSBT Radio. How important was the use of misdirection in today's offensive game plan?
Well, it was an important adjustment that we made at halftime. They threw everything at us in the first half. A lot of looks that we certainly didn't expect, nor did they show at all last year. So, you're going on, in this kind of camp that we had, you're trying to go on a lot of looks that they had shown from their past defensive coordinator, and one of their looks, their 3 down with their stand up was, a pretty similar look. They hadn't used it in any of the rundowns, so there was some difficulty, in terms of identifying and sustaining some of the blocks in their 2 points. But we made the adjustments, and I thought we did a nice job in the second half.
From Tyler James of the South Bend Tribune, to what do you attribute the slower start on offense in the first quarter?
Just the way I answered it. And I don't know if Tyler knows this, but we hadn't played spring ball, or we didn't play in December. If he was expecting that we were going to come out like a shiny new car, he's been reading too much internet chatter. Look, it's difficult to duplicate game-like speed when you haven't had that for such a long time. So my expectations is that it was going to be a process, and that we just had to be patient. And you saw we were patient. We stuck with what we were doing, and then we had to make some adjustments at halftime. And I thought we looked like the team we should have in the second half after we made some adjustments and settled into some things. And I thought we took control of the game in the second half.
And also from Tyler James, how would you evaluate Ian Book's performance today?
I thought it was up and down. I think, Ian made some really nice plays for us. What I said to Ian on the sideline was that he's got to make some of the easy plays, the layups, if you will. He missed a screen, and he missed an easy drive route. But he did some really good things, too. And, again, you got to understand, no spring ball, and let me just go over how many new players that he is blending into this offense, whether it's Mike Mayer, Tommy Trumbull getting a bigger role, Joe Wilkins, Ben Skoranek, Javon McKinley, Lawrence Keys, all the backs. Ian Book has got a whole new offensive group of skill players around him, and he's still, working through that process. So it's not in a situation where he knows exactly where they're going to be. He will, and so I told him, look, don't expect that happens overnight, but make the easy plays. And, at times, Ian wants to be great, and he can't be great yet because those guys are young and they need some more time. So just make some of those easy plays, and he'll be fine.
A couple of our media members had a question about the fake punt. What was your thought process, and what does it say about the belief you have in your team that would be successful?
My thought process was, I hope the heck it works. That was my first thought process. It was there. We saw it on film. We felt like it was there. It was one of those that you needed to call it in a very vulnerable area. In other words, when you're backed up. So, Jay's a very good athlete, and you saw that he had to cut back, to make that, first down. But felt very confident that he was going to get an opportunity to convert that. So, and we were kind of, we needed a little bit of momentum, and so I just felt like it was the right time to make the call.
This from Eric Hansen of the South Bend Tribune. You got a lot of mileage out of your depth on defense. What's your assessment of that group, especially Isaiah Foskey?
We got a lot of depth and mileage out of that, and then you had a second part of the question.
Isaiah Foskey.
Yeah, I
Your
mean,
impressions.
some people would be happy that he would be their featured player, and he's a depth player for us. He's an outstanding football player. Let's just put it that way. And we're just blessed that we have a lot of depth, and you saw that starting to kind of show itself. There were some. I don't know. I mean, there were some, some plays that we can shore up, on the back end, leverage plays that, we'll take a look at. But, we let the ball outside the defense here and there. Things that, I don't know that we're going to lose sleep over, but they've got to be addressed, and we've got to clean it up. But the answer to the question is, what we are blessed with is great depth, and you could kind of start to see that show itself in the third and fourth quarter where we started to take the game over.
And lastly, from Tom Van Haren of ESPN, what were the biggest challenges coaching with masks on? Is it a challenge to signal players and to get them plays?
Yeah, I mean, I just think communication at times becomes one where it's a bit muffled in terms of communicating personnel groupings. It's really clear, obviously, you're listening to play calls and communications, but trying to communicate on the sidelines with a mask on is not the easiest thing to do. So, just making sure that there's clear communication on the sideline, and that becomes a little bit more difficult. Now, I will say this: the atmosphere in the stadium was just, I was blown away. I mean, I was expecting it to be like an inter-squad scrimmage. That was a great environment. Our students created for our guys, and they said this to me, that they were overjoyed in a sense that it felt like a football game. I mean, there were students in the stands, and they created an atmosphere that felt like a real football game in there. So I'm not saying it was a roaring din that we couldn't hear, but they made it loud too at times where it felt like a football game. So really appreciate what our students did in coming out in force and making that a great environment.
All right. Thank you very much, Coach.
You're welcome.